I'm Teresa, Uda Hagen's granddaughter, and this is my mother, Letty.
Hi, Uda Hagen was my mother.
Today we're gonna make one of my favorite recipes from my grandmother's cookbook, Uda Hagen's Love for Cooking. If you ever went to her house in Montauk and had orange pancakes on a Sunday,
That's good.
on a Sunday morning, you were in for a real treat. So today we're going to share this recipe with you, and as we have in the past, we're just going to tweak it a little bit. All right, so it starts with, we have to, for the orange pancakes, we are doing orange syrup, which requires
Is it syrup or a sauce?
sauce. So we're starting with orange sauce. And we have already cut the oranges, and my mom is going to go ahead and make them into orange juice. And as she is doing that, so in my grandmother's recipe, it requires, her recipe calls for butter. We're not using butter in the sauce. So instead, I'm just going to add a little bit of coconut oil. So as a cheat, I have discovered that my grandmother, when she did not have oranges, she would use, what was it, frozen?
Made frozen orange juice and then dilute it.
So that's another way that you can create this sauce. And in her book, she also talks about you have the orange juice and then you're supposed to add the chopped orange rind. We never had it that way. So I don't know what that tastes like, but what I'm going to add this time is some lime.
Or the other thing you can do if you don't want to take the time to, make fresh orange juice, you could also buy, the fresh bottled orange juice or the orange juice you can get at the supermarket in the big containers and figure out what the ratio would be. Okay, here we go. That goes in. And now we put the pulp in.
Just because gives it a nice extra texture.
Make sure you take the pits out.
No need, we'll just grow an orange tree.
Oh.
To thicken the sauce, what you can do is, there's a couple of different ways in which you can do this. What my grandmother says is to add cornstarch or arrowroot mixed with cold water. You want to mix them together so that they get to a smooth consistency. You can also just add flour if you want, if you don't have either one of those. But we have cornstarch, so we're going to go ahead and... So when you're making your thickener for your sauce, you can always start with a little bit of whatever dry ingredient you're using and then add more if you're not sure of the consistency. Remember never to add too much, because once you add too much, then you have to add more water and your texture will not be at a nice syrupy consistency for when you pour it over the pancakes. So I've used cornstarch with the water, and now I'm going to stir it into the mixture. I'm slowly pouring it in to the mixture, and my mother is stirring it to make sure that there are no clumps. Once this has happened, we're going to put it to the side and let it cool down. You can keep this recipe, you can make a lot of this orange sauce and then freeze it or refrigerate it. It will last for a while. Which is what my grandmother did. But we're now making the orange pancakes. Letty, you're up.
So this is the flour and the, what? Salt?
Flour, sugar, and salt.
Flour in. Sugar and salt in.
And she's going to mix that together. But you have to get a little bit in there.
Oh, I thought I had.
Oops.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, I've mixed this all up.
And next comes the unsuspecting, not typical ingredient for orange pancakes. Cottage cheese.
Small curds, not big curds.
So this is going to get briskly folded in.
Yeah, long hand, all right. That's good.
And on top of that, we are adding sour cream. Switch.
Switch. Switch. And it's getting lumpy.
Adding more sour cream as the recipe calls for. Oops.
Here we go. And it's getting more lumpy.
Calls for lightly beaten eggs, which I will now crack open. So I never got to see this part of cooking with Uda in the kitchen.
And it's getting to be made almost like a ball of dough if you were making fresh bread.
In Montauk, but this is it's just that orange sauce. It was the best part of the whole pancake.
And if you don't have children around and you want to spike it, you can put a little dash of Grand Marnier in the orange sauce, and that makes it even better. Grand Marnier is an orange liqueur, in case some of you don't know.
So she's going to now add the eggs, and those are just going to be perfectly blended in. While she's doing that, I'm going to heat up the stove. I've used coconut oil as a base for these pancakes. I believe my grandmother, knowing her, she probably said put some butter in the pan, which you can do as well, but I've made the choice to use coconut oil. So that's looking pretty good. It looks like yellow curds, if you will. Think of cheese. We're going to let this heat up, and then we're just going to pour them into the pan. And then we're going to eat them. All right, Letty, I think that looks pretty good. So our pan is nicely heated up. The oil is just silky smooth. Now we're going to just take a little bit and
Glob it in. Try to smooth it out a little bit, maybe.
and it's going to sizzle, and then we're going to flip it. Spent many summers in Montauk, and my grandmother's house had these big, huge windows that just looked out onto the ocean. So we would sit there. She would make the pancakes in the kitchen on Sunday morning, and she didn't let anybody come into the kitchen. And then it was like this delicious surprise that she was bringing to the table, and you had the view of the ocean. And if you were really lucky, which was not very often, if you were really lucky, there was a sailboat just crossing in between the cliffs at your ocean view, and you were having pancakes either at the dinner table or on the front porch. Ocean breeze, ocean air, and there goes the sailboat. You get to lick the plate clean.
Because especially since we were not in public.
This was a Sunday ritual for, gosh, I don't even know how long. All the time that I spent out there, I think.
And each time you make another pancake, it's good to put butter, or in this case, the coconut oil in, so that the other pancakes don't stick to the front pan.
Yeah. Like Grandma, or Oma, as I knew her, would make this recipe with a stick of butter. We're not using a stick of butter in the sauce.
And it's going to sit there and sizzle for a few minutes, and then we'll flip it again.
And we'll wait till it's done. So, bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Just as I remember, just as good.
Delicioso.
We'll see you next time. We're gonna keep on eating.
Ciao.